Good evening, YouTube. Andrew Sellers. Welcome to Dragon's Dojo Gaming. Andrew Sellers here, and I am interestingly about to show you all my Edison my Quickdraw Dandy profile from the Edison format for Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I haven't used this deck in real life yet. However, I have played many Edison matches on Dueling Book. I've mainly used I mainly use Dragon Turbo in Edison format, and I'm looking to build that deck in real life eventually once my new job starts to get busy next month, since it'll be spring next month. But Quickdraw Dandy is my backup deck in the format. I'm also eventually looking to build Black Wings, Teledad, and Heroes for that format. So, let's get on with it, shall we? And I also want to let you all know that there's going to be lots of proxies in the deck, so be ready for that as well. So first up, I run 3 copies of Quickdraw Synchron. On my Dueling Book build, I run the card at 2. I may consider keeping this guy at 3. But, just because of how convenient this card is, but, I'm not entirely sure whether I want to bump it to 3 or keep it at, whether I want to keep it at 3 or bump it to 2. Because this is undoubtedly one of the best cards in the deck. It's called Quickdraw Dandy for a reason. Next up, 3 copies of Caius the Mega Monarch. A staple in Edison. Arguably, a staple for most decks in this format. All it requires is, just like most level 5 and 6 monsters, all it requires is 1 tribute. You target one card on the field and banish it. And if it ends up being a dark monster, the opponent takes 1,000 damage. Fun fact, in case you didn't know, one neat little trick you can do with Caius is that if your opponent has 9,000 or less life points, has 1,000 or less life points, you can just, and unless the opponent has anything to stop it, to stop its effect from going off, you can just target himself and inflict 1,000 damage to the opponent just from banishing him alone. This dude's undeniably one of the best cards in Edison format. There's so many dark monsters in this format, and getting to banish something for free is nuts. Next up, 3 level leader. I was thinking about I tried the Volcanic Shell engine in the deck, but I mean, the Volcanic Shell engine is solid, but for this deck, I personally think Level Leader is a much better card. Because for Volcanic Shell, you're having to pay 500 life points to add copies of it to your hand. With Level Leader, all you have to do is just decrease the level of a monster that's level 5 or above, and you can keep summoning it as many times as you can. So yeah, my reason for playing Level Leader over Volcanic Shell is because of how free the card is, basically. Next up, my Plant Engine. First 2 copies of Longfire Blossom. Obviously, he's there for your Dandelions and your Titianas. 2 Dandelion. I'm proxying another one at the moment. Eventually, I'm gonna look to get myself another copy of Dandelion. Now, I know this is gonna be a really weird proxy, but Currently, I'm just running a random ass pug fusion for Titania until I get her. But for those of you that don't know what she is, she's a level 8 wind attribute plant monster with 2800 attack and 2200 defense, and her effect is if she's being targeted by a card effect, you contribute 1 plant monster on your field to negate the activation of the card and destroy it. You contribute herself, but if you've got anything like Dandelion or any plant tokens on your board, you can just tribute one of those instead. She's pretty good. She's really easy to summon thanks to Lawn Fire Blossom, and having extra tokens is just really, really handy. So currently, as a placeholder, I'm running 1 Night Assailant. One thing that's nice about this guy is that you can use his effect to get Raikou back to your hand. But I don't think Night Assailant's necessary in the deck at all. I'm actually looking to take him out for cards that I think would fit the deck better. But he's an alright. He's a pretty good placeholder for the deck. 2 Raikou. I'm eventually gonna bump Raikou to 3, and I'm gonna add 2 copies of the hamster that can flip summon it. But Raikou I definitely think is a really good card in this deck. Another placeholder in the deck, 1 Marshmelon. It's a decent placeholder for this deck, but eventually I'm looking to, like I said, it's just a placeholder. There's other cards in the format that I'm looking to eventually get to replace it with. 1 Card Trooper. He's there as a 19k beater, and he can help. He draws cards if he's destroyed, and he can help make it easier for you to go off with Pot of Avarice. So yeah, this guy's pretty good in the deck overall, I feel. Finally, for monsters, 1 copy of Sangan. Basic 15k Searcher. And now for these spells. 3 Pot of Avarice. When activated, you choose 5 monsters from your graveyard, shuffle them into your deck, and draw 2 cards. Very good card in this format overall. Arguably a staple for just about any deck in this format, I feel. 1 copy of Upstart. Eventually I'm going to be taking this card out, but right now it's just a placeholder for the deck. 2 copies of Book of Moon. One of the best spell cards in this format. Like, honestly, getting to set your opponent's monster for free is rather convenient. 1 MST, free back row destroyer. 1 Heavy Storm. Another free back row destroyer, except for a lot more back row. 1 Giant Trunade. Basically Heavy Storm on a budget. One advantage I feel like Giant Trunade has over Heavy Storm if you're playing Dragon Turbo, though, is that it can add Future Fusion back to your hand if you've activated Future Fusion. 1 Brain Control. In my opinion, you either main this card or you side it. Because of how good this card is in Edison format, I think it's kind of needed as a one-of. Whether you're siding it or main decking it. Well, you can only play it as a one-of because it's at 1 in this format. 1 Foolish Burial. And finally, for spells, 1 Lightning Vortex. And now for the traps. 1 Call of the Haunted. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. Please excuse the Japanese one. It is kind of nice to have, though. Eventually, I'm looking to take it out for an English version of Bottomless. But it's in here for now. 1 Mirror Force. Really good staple trap in most decks, definitely. 1 Phoenix Chain. Eventually, I'm actually going to be adding it to my side deck. Like, it's a really good card, but I don't think it's needed for every matchup. And I don't think it's needed for the main deck. 1 Magic Cylinder. Eventually, I'm going to be citing this card. 1 Torrential Tribute. Definitely a must-have in your main deck. And finally, 1 Dust Tornado. Now, I do have a side deck, but I have lost it somewhere. I will find it eventually, but for tonight, we'll have to do without it. Once I complete this list, I will make an update. Once I complete my build for this deck, I will make an updated deck profile for this deck. 2 Drill Warrior. For now, I'm proxying my copy of Junk Gardener as my second Drill Warrior. Undoubtedly one of the best cards in this deck. Getting to attack your opponent directly, even if they have monsters out, and getting to save your monster itself, and getting to basically add any monster, and getting to do tricks with your graveyard is just really, really good. 1 Junk Warrior, a personal tech choice I have in the deck. Biggest reason I play him in the deck is in case I were to only open it with Quickdraw and Level Leader, and to get to summon Junk Warrior from it being the only monster I could ever really summon. Funny thing about my Synchron deck, my modern Synchron deck, is that I have an ultra rare version of Junk Warrior in the deck that I'd much rather use than the common, but I really don't want to keep switching in between them. For now, I'm playing 1 copy of Flameville, a copy of this guy. He, in my opinion, is a decent card and is optional, but I don't think it's mandatory for the deck at all. But currently for my build, I'm running him as a placeholder. Next up, 1 Goyo Guardian. Undoubtedly a staple card for this deck. When he destroys an opponent's monster in battle, you get to swipe that monster from them. Like, getting to take your opponent's monsters after destroying them is really, really nice. Next up, 1 Iron Chain Dragon. Solid beat stick, and if it inflicts damage to the opponent, your opponent mills the top 3 cards of their deck. Next up, 2 Brionac. Currently, I'm running this guy at 2, and eventually I may switch him to 1. But undoubtedly, in my opinion, Brionac is the best level 6 synchro in this format, just because of how much you can abuse this card. I especially find it abusable in this deck because of how much grave manipulation you can do with it. Well, there's some grave manipulation to the deck, but this guy I definitely feel is a good card to discard from Brionnac's effect if you have it in your hand. But overall, this guy is amazing. One Nitro Warrior. Solid beat stick for the deck. If you activate a spell, he gains 1,000 attack, and quite potentially, if your opponent has 2 monsters that are weaker than it, that are in attack mode and defense mode, you can attack the attack position monster first, and then use his ability to switch the defense position monster the opponent has to attack mode, and then run over that monster. It's kind of a situational card, but Nitro Warrior's a solid card overall. 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon. Pretty good card in this format, in my opinion. 1 Black Rose. Definitely the best level 7 synchro in this format. There's so much more you can do with this card than just blow up boards with it. Another thing you can do is you can once per turn banish a plant type monster from your grave, target an opponent's defense position monster, switch it to attack mode, and reduce their attack points to 0. And then take advantage of that chance and attack that monster. She's a beautiful, awesome card. Undoubtedly. Next up, 1 Stardust Dragon. Eventually, I'm going to bump it to 2 because Stardust Dragon is just a really, really, really good card. Well, actually, I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of the best cards in this format, but it's a really good card overall. It's really convenient to have in case your opponent uses effects that can destroy it. Oh, and another reason I'm wanting to bump it to 2 is because eventually I'm looking to get Starlight Road for the main deck, and having one of it to summon from a synchro summon and the other to summon from Starlight Road's effect would be really convenient. Next up, 1 Red Dragon Archfiend. This may be a hot Red Dragon Archfiend, but I'm using it as a proxy for for the original Red Dragon Archfiend. But eventually, I will take him out for the original once my job starts to get busy. 1 Road Warrior. Currently, I'm using him as a placeholder because I don't really have anything else, but eventually I'll be taking him out. But he's a little hard to summon in the deck just because he's a level 8 and because you can only summon him with Quickdraw, but it's a pretty good card. And finally, 1 card I may consider keeping in the deck. 1 copy of Mistworm. This card I personally feel is a little slept on. Like, it's not the easiest synchro monster out there to summon, but its effect is damn good. Like, getting to return 3 cards to your opponent's hand for free is really, really nice. So, for the main deck, I'm looking to get 1 Solemn Judgment, I'm looking to get 2 Deep Prison, I'm looking to also get, let's see, what else? As you know, I'm also looking to get 1 more Dandelion and a copy of Tatiana. And for the side deck, I'm looking to get 2 Royal Oppression. I'm looking to get, let's see. I'm looking to get 2 DD Crow. There's a lot of crap I don't have yet that I want to get for the deck. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Oh, and let's see, what else? I'm also looking to get Colossal Fighter for the deck. I'm looking to get Turbo Warrior, and I'm also looking to get Junk Archer. But that's really it. There isn't too much I'm missing for the deck, and it'll be really cheap to get all that stuff. Anyways, thank you once again. Thank you all for watching my videos. Please like and subscribe to watch more of them. And have a good night, everyone.